I wanted to do a quick video on like how do I deal with everyday dizziness and like just through the day what I do to try to calm myself down and like not go through and let the dizziness kind of overtake me and kind of just ruin my day. So today I woke up a little bit dizzy. Woke up about 8 o'clock in the morning. It's a Sunday morning, so I typically do go to church on Sundays. And woke up and I just kind of felt as I was kind of waking up that my brain was a little foggier than usual. Um, I also felt like kind of the movement of the bed, and a lot of you probably can relate where you feel kind of like that soft boating sensation while you're in bed, and it typically can be quite scary, especially at the beginning. Like waking up like that would just immediately put me on fight or flight mode, and I would get up and really fast, and I would jump out of bed. And obviously when you do that, that makes it super worse, at least for me, and my body can't do that. And so I would usually fall down because I just jumped out of bed, and then I would fall down, and then obviously that would trigger more anxiety, more panic, and it ended up being a sobbing fest for like the first 30 minutes of my day. I would feel like my life is ruined. Like, oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be done. I can't do this. I probably had several panic attacks during that morning. Um, and then, by the time everything would calm down a little bit, I wouldn't go to church because by then I wouldn't feel like going to church. Like, who wants to go to church after they've had a panic attack? Like, that's not the best mindset to kind of get out. So, it was really hard to break that cycle because once your brain wakes up in the morning and realizes that it's dizzy, that fight or flight pattern will continue, and it will loop, and it will continue to loop, and it will feed itself, and it will feed itself. And I never really understood it because I was like, I tried to stop it and it doesn't stop. Like, how can I stop it? So this morning I was like, well, I'm going to share a little bit about what my journey has been in the last now 11 months, and really share, how far I've come and how far I'm utilizing the tools. And yes, I'm dizzy today. I'm dizzy, and I have accepted that today is a dizzy day, and I am a little bit brain foggy. So as I watch this back, I could probably can see myself kind of thinking out loud, and I now understand that, and that's okay. Like, some people, if they don't know me, they might not even realize really that I have brain fog. Um, my husband notices it. I notice it. Um, some of my family will notice it. Some of my friends will notice it. But typically, other people beyond that typically don't. So word finding is a little bit slow today. I'm moving a lot slower today, and that's okay. It's okay. Like, it's not the end of the world. I'm not going to be like this forever. I'm not going to have a panic attack. I refuse to have a panic attack. So I'll tell you, kind of this morning, woke up, felt that kind of waving sensation. I'm not sure exactly why. Um, I can know that I am getting closer to my menstrual period. So hormones do have a impact on my vestibular migraines. So potentially that could be a reason. Yesterday I had an amazing day. I did a lot. I decided that I wanted to go shopping with my mom and my sister and my daughter. So we went shopping for probably 4 hours, and then we had dinner. A good friend of mine just had a baby, so I drove from the place that we had dinner to her house. Was about a 30-minute drive. So, and it was about 7ish p.m. So I drove that 30 minutes. So basically a full hour, back and forth. So 30 minutes there. Had a wonderful time visiting her and her brand new baby girl, and drove back home. I still had all the shopping that I had done in my vehicle. I took my dog on a walk. I put all the groceries and all the other stuff away. I was exhausted but not extremely fatigued. I came home. I poured myself a hot tea, and I decided I'm gonna start putting ice packs. I do have a nightly routine that I've been working with a sleep expert. As I've shared, I've was diagnosed with sleep apnea, and so I really want to make sure I get that restorative sleep and that deep sleep. And so I usually begin my nightly routine about 8 p.m. That's kind of my goal. And so I start with icing. I ice my shoulders and my head. I do have like those ice kind of caps that you put in your head, and then I do have like kind of like those shoulder ice packs as well. So it is quite funny if you ever see me. I have all this ice on my neck and in my head. I find that it helps with my chronic neck pain, shoulder pain. I also find it just helps overall just feel better. Like a little bit of that pressure was setting in last night, so I put on that. I was drinking hot tea, just sitting on the couch. I watched a movie with my daughter, and then had a couple of snacks too. I did part a little bit away from my usual dinner because we were out and about. I'm very careful, obviously, of preservatives and thing low histamine and gluten free and dairy free, and the diet that I'm following is very strict. So obviously when you're out and about, it's very difficult to eat the way that I'm used to eating. But it was a treat day. So I had a very kind of Greek type of meal. It was grilled breast chicken with a lot of veggies, and one of the things that I did notice is one of the salads had some tomato and then some olives, and I really liked those, but nothing wrong with it. And I thought maybe if I ate just a little bit of it, it wouldn't be too overwhelming for my body. So I did treat myself for that. So obviously I had a little bit more of histamine there. For dessert, we had like those kind of like a yogurt parfait, and I couldn't have the yogurt, but I did have some of the fruit. Some of the fruit was not very low histamine friendly, but again, it was a treat. And they topped it with a little bit of chia seeds and some gluten-free granola. So I knew that I perhaps would be a little bit dizzy, today. So taking all that into account, I did drink some water and some tea along with that meal, but I also did have afterwards just regular Minute Maid lemonade, and I rarely have those, obviously, but that has a lot of sugar, and I think it has a little bit of carbonation. I don't know if it does, but it does have a lot of preservatives and a lot of sugar. Obviously, the only sugar that I consume is either on like found in fruit naturally, and it has to be low histamine fruit for now, and some really raw honey. So that's where I get kind of my sugar kick. If I'm really wanting some dessert, I usually just do kind of an apple with a scoopful of raw honey, and that takes me through that dessert kind of sweet tooth. So I knew that I had a really good day yesterday. I did everything normal. I wasn't at all dizzy. I in fact kind of even forgot to take some of my medicine on time. It wasn't until I came home that I was like, oh, I have to drink my medicine. I took it. And so, it happened. So, of course, today, waking up, having that feeling in the bed. So, what's my process now, 11 months in? Well, I calm myself down. I try to be very mindful of my breathing. Am I breathing with my belly, or am I breathing with my neck? And that is just using your, am I using more of my upper lung capacity, or am I using the diaphragm and doing, that kind of breathing? Diaphragm breathing is linked to your vagus nerve, and so it's going to calm you down. One of the other things I check is my smart watch, or Halo, and I'll look at where I am with my I don't know why it doesn't show it on here, where I am with my heartbeat. So is it elevated, or where am I? So I'll check it. I'll do some breathing. I'll stay in bed. I won't jump out of bed like I've done in the past. I've now know that's my limit. I will slowly kind of wake myself up, rub my eyes, very slow moving, very cautious of like jerky movements with my head or with my eyes, but just like not being afraid of it either, of not being afraid of movement. Typically, after a couple rounds of breathing and just understanding them, it's a dizzy day today. Okay, so it's a dizzy day. All right, so typically I like to kind of check my phone. I guess 99% of the population now probably has a phone and a smartphone, so we're all kind of checking our phones anyway. So I'll check my phone. I will make sure not to be on my phone for more than 3 or 5 minutes, because I have found that sometimes the scrolling will trigger more dizziness. So I guess it depends on how dizzy I feel. If I feel like I'm very rocky, I won't even check my phone at all. But if I feel like I'm okay, I got it under control, my breathing is okay, I'm not anxious, I'll check my phone real quick, any missed things. I'll put my phone away, and then I'll start rolling to my side. I typically like to sleep on my right side, so I'll slowly kind of go in my back, stretch really good. I try to get some really good stretches while I'm still in bed. That also helps you with, or at least it helps me with, a lot of the kind of muscle anxiety that kind of is built there. So I'll stretch out really, really good, and then I will kind of go on my right side. Obviously, my right side will allow me to kind of roll out of bed. I will put my feet down first. I'll kind of dangle. I'm very short, so I'll dangle my feet on kind of the side of the bed and kind of let the blood flow go through my feet. And then I will kind of roll my head in this position for a while, kind of have my chin to my heart for a bit, and then I will kind of slowly kind of roll up, and I'll sit at the edge of the bed, and I'll sit there, and I'll kind of make sure that I look to the horizon. And I'm pretty blind without my contacts or glasses, so everything's blurry. Everything's blurry. I mean, I can see the shadows of things, but everything's very blurry for me in the morning. So I really don't know if I'm focused or not as I wake up. So I'll typically, kind of just sit at the side of my bed, and I'll do some breathing exercises again. At that point, typically I do my prayers in the morning, and then it's just thankful prayers like, thank you, Lord, for this day. I'm ready to take on the day. I am in control of my day, and just using my authority to declare that it'll be a good day. Once I'm kind of a little bit more aware, especially aware of where everything is, I'm a little bit more awake. I'll start to do again some stretches and kind of see where my breathing is at, where is my heart. If I'm still kind of shallow breathing and I feel that anxiety building, I'll go back and kind of lay down again, and I'll start all over again. But this morning I was breathing it out. I was declaring my prayers, and I declare it out loud, by the way, because the mind is a powerful thing and prayer works. So I am a God-fearing woman, and I am of faith, and so I will declare it. And so I will sit kind of there by the edge of the bed. I do have my bottle of water that I leave, or a glass of water that I leave on my nightstand, and I'll take a couple of sips of water. I don't chug it down or anything. I'll just take a couple sips of water, and then I'll stand up. And then I'll stand up and I'll do a little bit of stretching again. And usually when I stand up, it kind of lets me know how bad that rockiness is going to be. Like sometimes I'll feel the rockiness in my head. So I'll feel like I'm like a big baby with the big head and little body. So I'll feel that bobblehead sensation. Sometimes the dizziness is more in my legs. So I feel kind of that trampoline-y, sensation of like unsteadiness. Like it's in my legs. My legs are weak. The ground is not steady. So it depends on where how does it feel. If I'm way too unrocky, I'll lay down again, start over again. This morning I was kind of felt it in my head, a little bobbly feeling. I think for me specifically, the bobbleness feeling is less anxiety producing than the trampoline sensation. I don't know why. I think that's just how the brain kind of circuit loop for me began, and so that's what triggers it, like what triggers anxiety. But if I'm usually bobbleheadness feeling, then I'm usually okay. I can work through it a little bit better. So in the mornings, it might take me anywhere from 5 to 15 minutes, sometimes 20 minutes, to get going. And that's just getting out of bed. So at the beginning, and prior to all of this, I would just wake up and get out of bed. Like there was nothing. I just get up and go to bed, get up out of bed, go to the bathroom. Now it's a process, and really radically accepting that the morning looks a little bit different, takes some time, takes a lot of work, but it's worth it. Because, like I said at the beginning, I would try to do the same routine that I had been doing for 30 something years, and it would trigger panic attacks and it would not work. So now I'm using tools to really help me with that. And that's okay. It's really okay. So woke up, finally was able to get into the bathroom. Usually, you use the bathroom, brush your teeth, kind of wash my face. Um, I don't like to put my contacts in right away in the morning. Again, I've just found that potentially is a trigger for me, is if I go from really blurry vision to suddenly clear vision, sometimes my eyes won't focus correctly. And so for the rest of the day, my eyes will have that unfocused feeling. And that is another trigger for me, my vision. So I try not to do that. Again, before, and I've used contacts since I was 12 years old, I automatically wake up, put my contacts on. I can't do that anymore. And that's okay. It's okay that I can't do that anymore. So I'll usually put on my glasses and continue with my morning. I have found that in the morning, if I do not take the time to prepare myself for further in the day, I will feel like I'm rushed, or I feel I have that feeling of inadequacy, of like the day is gonna fail. And again, it just goes back to my own circuit loop pattern that I had inherited for the past 11 months. I have no idea why. But typically, before, before my tools, if I couldn't get through breakfast or I couldn't get through lunch, I just felt like I was a failure. And like, how am I ever going to live like this? I can't even feed myself. I can't even feed my family. And then that would be like a loophole into like this rabbit hole of vastness of darkness, and then another anxiety attack would come through. So I typically, after I'm done in the restroom, I will go to my kitchen and I will put a kettle tea full of water, and I put it on the stove, and I'll usually put like couple of eggs to be boiled. I like kind of soft boiled eggs in the morning, and that's just me. I've always kind of have had to have eggs in the morning, and so I continue with that. And I typically will also put like a pot of potatoes to boil. And then last night I had brought some pork chops, and so I had marinated those overnight. So I took those out of the fridge and I kind of left them there. And then I left all that boiling in the stove, and I go upstairs again, and I will kind of lay my clothes out if I haven't had a chance to lay them out the night before. But typically I do have them already laid out. And then I will jump in the shower. And I really like a really hot shower in the morning. Just like I feel like the hot water on my neck and on my shoulders help me kind of start moving around a little bit better in the mornings. I'm very stiff. My joints are very stiff as well. My knees typically are hurting. My ankles, my hands are typically stiff. So I'll jump in the shower, and I will do a really hot shower. And then at the very end, I'll turn it to like the really cold, and I'll just sit there for like 20 seconds, and let it like hit you and wake you up. I've found that that's typically what works for me in the morning. I never was able to take a hot shower before. I usually like my water like lukewarm. Again, trial and error. I tried this, like you read stuff, take a cold shower, take a hot shower, and you do whatever they tell you to do to kind of make you feel better. So that's what I've learned so far, and maybe that will change in a couple months, but for now it works. So after I get out of the shower, I kind of feel a little better. I feel a little bit more awake, and then I'll put my contacts in. So from 8 a.m. when I first opened my eyes till about 8:45, I haven't really done anything. I really just gotten up, went to the restroom, put some things to boil, and took a shower. 45 minutes, and sometimes that takes me an hour. I would have done that prior to all of this in probably 15 minutes. I mean, I would have gotten up, went to the restroom, put the stuff in the stove, took a 5-minute shower, and I can't do that anymore. And that's okay. And I'm not a failure because I can't do it in 15-20 minutes, and now it takes me 45 minutes to an hour. It's okay. I'm not a failure for that. So you just have to continue saying that to yourself. I'm not a failure for that. This is my limitation right now. This is what I can do. So typically by then, I will go downstairs, and I haven't dressed. I usually just put a robe on, and I'll go and grab a hot tea. I have found that the warmness of the tea has helped me kind of condition my body to feel more safe or at ease. And so I will go downstairs, and by that time the tea kettle typically is going off, and or at least my husband has grabbed it or something like that. And I will have like a tea. This is the tea that I'm using right now. Really good. I know it says nighttime because people usually probably drink passion flower for nighttime, but it won't make me sleepy. It'll just kind of put me at ease. And I think it's more the warm water, to be honest with you. So I'll drink a huge mug, like oversized mug of tea. I'll typically bring it upstairs with me, and then I try to be more mindful of the senses. So, before I really didn't care what kind of lotion or body lotion I used. But now I'm more like mindful of that. So, lavender is something that I've found helps me, and it helps my brain. Mint is something else, or something citrusy. Also helps me, and so I will lather myself with that kind of lotion after the shower and get dressed. Now, that probably takes me more than an hour, right? So I've spent just an hour on what typically would have taken me 20 minutes before, and I just have to be okay with that. There's nothing that I can do right now to control that, to make it faster, to make it work better. Like, as of right now, that works the best for me. And that's okay. Before, maybe like month 6 or 7, that probably would have taken me half a day to do. And so I'm celebrating now that it only takes me an hour. So, I'm sharing this because I also read a lot, and I am part of a lot of communities where people are like, "Oh my gosh, I'm never gonna be better." And yes, you will be better. I am better. And believe me, if I'm better, you can be better too. And we will have bad days. And that's okay. Like it just remission doesn't mean normal back to where you were. And maybe for me that will never come. And I have radically accepted that. But I believe that it will. That I will go back to being able to do my morning routine in 20 minutes. And I'll get there. It might not be tomorrow. It might be next year. It might not be in 3 years. But it'll be soon. So I got ready. I ate breakfast. I am mindful of sitting down, eating my food. So this morning I had my tea. I had 2 soft-boiled eggs, and I had kind of like a poor man's hash brown, because all I did was like kind of like smashed the potato and put like salt and pepper on it and like put it on the griddle, and that's it. And then I packed some grapes and a apple juice box. I have apple juice boxes because I have a 8-year-old daughter, so I have it ready. The reason why I pack stuff is, one, obviously I'm following a really strict diet, but two, I am battling kind of pre-diabetes and glucose issues, and what I've found is if my sugar levels go down, I will get dizzy. I will feel that dizziness, and I will feel more anxious. And so I don't allow my body to feel deprived or to feel like my blood sugar is depleting. Now, before, I had never had that issue before. I never had that issue. I honestly would probably go to work on an empty stomach, worked probably half a day, and like have a really late lunch like at 2 p.m. And I would never in a million years think, oh, I need to have a snack because my sugar levels are dropping. Like, that was not a thing. But now it is. And so I packed those. My daughter and I went to church. It was a really special service today. And so it was going to be a little bit longer than usual because, again, they were celebrating something very specific. And so I knew that I was going to need kind of that natural sugar intake. So while I was at church, I had a handful of grapes, and then I drank my juice box. And then church got over, and at church, the church that I go to, there's a live band playing, and so the music is very loud. And there's also lights and like a fog machine. So it's very kind of concert-like during the worship time. And so there's going to be flashing lights. There's going to be, fog machine. There's going to be people, singing and walking around stage. And what I've found is if I sit really far away, so like maybe on the last pew or like on the balcony, or very, very away from speakers, I feel okay. So before all this, I would sit closer to the stage because I wanted to feel the experience. But now I don't, and that's okay. Again, I keep saying that, and that's okay, because I have to say that to my brain, because if I don't, then it won't be okay, and then we'll have problems. So I'll have to keep saying to myself, and that's okay, and that's okay. So we service went a little bit over. I was snacking on my grapes, and then after service, I had a quick errand to run, so I went and it was very quick. I didn't even have to get out of the car. Um, so I went and got a quick errand done, and came home. I had already marinated those pork chops, and I had left them in the oven on a very low setting, and my husband had some work to do, so he couldn't accompany us to church today. And so he was checking on them. So when I came home, potatoes were already boiled, right? Because I had to boil them in the morning. So very easily I could smash them, and I could do mashed potatoes. I don't put butter on them. I put olive oil on them, and I don't put any like milk or buttermilk or anything like that. So I just put olive oil on them, and again, it's because I'm dairy free right now. And I'll put a lot of different spices to make it a little bit better. And I had good pork chops, and I'm in the Midwest, so our pork chops are like humongous. they're like the size of my face. And I had like a good cucumber salad, which basically is just cucumbers, and I like to put some mint and parsley, and I like to put some lemon juice on it. I'm marinating a lot with lemon now, so I just found that vinegar is a little bit too strong for me and for all my GI issues, and I found that lemon is a little bit more soft in terms of how my body handles it. So everybody's different. And so I came home and I ate a really good lunch, and I kind of just sat for a while. And actually, at that time, I decided to go into social media. Now, what I've found now is social media can be a trigger for me in terms of what I see. I'll tell you specific apps that can really trigger me. And I know this, so depending on the day, like today, I will refuse to get on them because I'm at a place right now where people who are suffering a lot from vestibular disorders saying really negative things because that's the truth of their experience will trigger me. And so I will refuse to participate in them. And that is just for pure mental health care. So I will not go into Facebook because I am part of a lot of virtual vestibular disorder communities that are extremely helpful and have great people and have very supportive people that will give you a lot of ideas and have helped me a lot, give you a lot of moral support. But again, there are sometimes stories there where their stories will trigger me, whether it be a success story can trigger me because I may find that they did it in a less time than I have gone through. And that's how my brain works. Because again, my brain feels like I'm a failure. And so I have to be careful on that. So I'm also part of long COVID communities on Facebook. And again, very supportive. I very support those communities. I think they're great. If it weren't for those communities, I probably wouldn't have gotten a lot of the care that I did. and I probably wouldn't have asked a lot of the treatment plans and a lot of the medications that I asked, because I knew and understood that some people utilized those and it worked. So again, I'm not bashing those communities. In fact, I think they're very important, but everything has a time and a place. For me, today, when I woke up dizzy, Facebook is probably not the best thing. Also, I also have a lot of acquaintances that I'm part of their feed, or they're part of my feed, and sometimes those are triggers, because even though sometimes those photos are not real in terms of the perception that they cause, they are triggers. So, if somebody looks a certain way or they're doing something that you can't do, again, that will be a trigger. That goes for Instagram, that goes for Reddit, that goes for any other platform, Twitter. I just refuse to be part of that. So I typically will be very careful on which app to use. I am also very careful of the news. I have news app on my, a lot of news apps on my phone, and certain stories will trigger me. So I don't go there. I just don't. I refuse. I just refuse. I'd rather be ignorant of the world right now than have to deal with an anxiety attack. So that's just my choice. So what does that leave me with? Well, I have some apps. I have my sleep app that I can read good articles in there. I have really good health apps that I usually, go in there. Depending on which ones, there are some that can be a trigger for me. The Bible app is a good one for me. There's other different apps that I usually go in there, and I'll start doing that. I'll have Kindle on my phone, and I'm reading a good book, so I'll usually pull that up too, and I'll read. I'll be mindful of the scrolling. I found that the endless, reading version, where you could just keep scrolling and scrolling, that obviously is not helpful. So I have to kind of flip the page. That is okay. I have to make the word font a lot larger, and I can read it pretty good. If I know, on YouTube, if I'm subscribed to certain channels, so I'll usually go directly to my subscription. I won't scroll the feed. I'll go through the subscription, and I'll just kind of pick. And I typically just stay very safe subscriptions. So I'll just do kind of I'll do comedy, something that make me laugh. I'll watch, stupid funny videos of cats or dogs or stuff like that. I'll do that. And so then I preemptively took a nap, because I know I'm a little bit, rocky, and I know I will reach fatigue at a certain point in my day. And so in the past, I would kind of just reach that fatigue point, and then that would actually cause an anxiety attack because I'm so fatigued. And then again, it goes back to, I'm so tired, I'm never gonna get better. What's going on? Why can't I just have a full day? Well, it's okay. I'm limited today. So I had a full day. I got up, I went to church, I got ready, I had a wonderful time at church, I ran an errand, I came home, I already had lunch, a late lunch, but I had a good lunch, a nutritious lunch. I had time to decompress. There's nothing wrong with a nap. I try to not take over an hour of a nap because then I feel like the fatigue will kick in further, and then also it will disturb my sleep cycle. So I will try to put an alarm on, but I typically don't nap for more than an hour. So usually I will nap for about 30 minutes to 45 minutes. So I'll wake up, and then typically, sometimes, if I'm lucky, after a nap, my dizziness sometimes goes away. Um, I will say that I will take some like Naratriptan. Like today before my nap, I took a Naratriptan, and I also took a little bit of my beta blocker. I have to cut my beta blocker in half, and I do one in the morning and at night. One in the morning, one at night. But if I'm having a really rocky day, I kind of try to cut it in fourths. And the only reason why I do this, it's kind of like microdosing. I feel like if I sustain the level of the beta blocker in my bloodstream at a certain level for the whole day, it is more effective than for me to drink it in the morning and then let like its lifespan wear off. I don't know. Maybe there's some, I don't know the science of microdosing, but I feel like it works. At least it works for me. And then sometimes it doesn't. Like this afternoon, I woke up and I'm still a little bit rocky, and that's okay. Um, there's no issues. Again, napping is the same as kind of waking up in the morning. I have to start that routine when I get up from my nap. When I woke up this afternoon, I didn't have that same sensation that I had in the morning. Mind you, I did take a Naratriptan before I went to bed, so my dizziness level is much less than what it was in the morning. I didn't take a Naratriptan in the morning because I do find that Naratriptan does make me a little more sluggish, and sometimes it works better for me if I take it and then take a nap. I feel like the full effect of the Naratriptan kind of kicks into effect when your brain is shut down, if that makes sense. Well, not shut down, but like in terms of your body being shut down and doesn't have to way overdo and overproduce. So I wanted to share that because even though I've, feel like I've reached some level of remission, that doesn't look like what potentially is out there. Some of the remission stories that I see is like month 2 and 3 of hell, of I can't get out of bed, I'm bedbound, I'm completely losing my mind and in the brink of insanity, to 6 months later, I'm dizzy free and everything's okay and I'm back to normal. And while that might be their true stories and it might completely be their journey, it is not my journey. And so watching that actually can really trigger me, because then I feel like, why can't I live to that standard? Why can't I be like them? Why is my journey not like that? Why am I a failure? And so I've learned that everybody has their time frame, everybody has their journey, and I have allowed my body to determine that, to determine the time frame, to determine the limits, the boundaries, the grace that it needs. And then it'll heal. I know it will heal. And so I just wanted to share that with you to give a little bit of hope, because I have better days now. I have a lot better days. I would say, 10 months ago, a day like today, waking up and feeling dizzy would have completely ruined my day. I probably wouldn't have gone to church. I probably wouldn't have gone and had a really great time with friends and with my daughter, and I probably wouldn't have had a really healthy lunch and been able to do all of that today. And I still have my evening time to just kind of do other stuff. I still need to do other stuff around the house, and I'll get those done. 10 months ago, I wouldn't have been able to do any of that because I probably would have spent 80 to 90% of my time in bed, crying my eyes out, and blaming the world that they had allowed this virus to go over, and how dare they, and get that anger completely in my soul. And I have really, really, really done the work to allow myself to forgive myself and to be thankful for the body that God has provided to me and the journey that I have been in, because I am a better person because of it. As weirdly as it will sound, it has made me a better person. It has made me a more spiritual person, a more person more in touch with my emotions. I'm a person who now takes time to be really good and nice to her body. And not that I wasn't very aware before, but I'm just very mindful now. And so with that, I really hope that your journey is going well. Please, please understand that everybody's journey is a little bit different, and that's okay. Blessings, everyone. Talk to you later.